Hello and welcome back, everyone. I'm Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist, and welcome to the Mad Science Lab podcast. We are back again today with the My Tiers, and here to do Dynasty running backs is Tim Riordan. Tim, thanks for joining me. As you can tell, I just came straight from work, stumbling over my own name and my own intro. It's a great start. How's it going?
I'm the same way. I just came from cooking dinner too, so I'm a little frazzled as well. But we'll nail these tiers here and send everybody off with some good Dynasty running back tiers for.
You know it's going to be a solid show when you stumble over your own name. That's a great start. You want to take a quick second before we get into it? Tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, so I'm at Twitter at TimmyMR. I work with Aaron over at DLF. We're both contributors over at Dynasty League Football. And I'm also the producer for the Fantasy Football Morning Show on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio.
Sweet. Sounds good. All right, like I said, these are always tough. The running back and wide receivers are tough to squeeze in the time. There's a lot of them. So we'll start with Cam Akers.
Cam Akers, I think I'm going to put him in the good tier. Let's see where he is on. I'm going to put him in the good tier. I kind of like where he's coming at right now. They got rid of Darrell Henderson. Didn't spend a lot of draft capital on another wide running back there. And, that Rams offense, I don't think the passing game is going to be as good with Matthew Stafford. And they'll have to rely on that running game quite a bit with Cam Akers.
Yeah, he fits in the good. He's definitely he's good value right now. I see him as, a solid RB2 value with the potential to be an RB1 if he's able to recapture. So, I've got quite a bit of him. But, for now, he's just good. Sorry, go ahead.
I made a move for him in a rookie draft recently where I traded the back end of the first round pick for him pretty much straight up. I think we got second rounder next year in the move as well. But we were really happy about that because we really needed a second running back on that team, and Cam Akers was a guy.
That'll do, yeah. Saquon Barkley.
I'm putting Saquon in the I want to put him into the elite tier because I love Saquon Barkley.
But the age
and the contract situation and just the way like Dalvin Cook's getting treated by the Vikings this year. And I'm going to put him in elite. Go for elite. Back end of elite. He's probably the last elite guy I'm going to put up there.
Can't argue it either way. Brian Robinson.
I am going below average on B-Rob.
Yeah, I think his opportunity is good or average, but I think his talent is below. I think he's just a plotter. But
yeah, we had Ron Rivera on our show about a week or so ago, and he talked about Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson both at the same time. So he didn't really give us a lot there, but the fact that he's mentioning Antonio Gibson in the same kind of conversation as Brian Robinson makes me feel a little better about Gibson and not as good about Robinson.
Yeah, I've been in on Gibson all off season. Yeah. You're right. Every time they bring up Robinson, he seems to find a way to work Gibson into the conversation. So, Nick Chubb.
Of course, he's an elite NFL running back, but we miss out on that PPR upside. We miss out on the, he's a little bit older at this point now. I think I got to put him in that good tier as well.
Yeah, you're right. If this was a standard or non-PPR, he'd probably be he would be in the elite. But unfortunately, not many people play in those kind of leagues anymore.
Right.
James Conner.
I am a hater of James Conner. I know he's been fine the past 2 years. He has that backfield all to himself, blah, 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 blah. He's a little too boring for me. Let's put him in average.
I don't particularly care for him, but this year I found I've got a lot of shares of him. He's been free pretty much in all my drafts. I get to a point where it's like, 10th round, 9th round, 10th round, 11th. Nah, screw it. I'll just take James Conner. It's like RB5. And I'm like, even if he gets hurt at that range, you can't
at
get
that
hurt.
point.
So
Yeah.
I'm not in on the player. I'm just in on the cost.
For sure.
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook, I already kind of mentioned him a little bit. I'm really hoping he is an elite tier, but we really don't know what's going on with him. It's sounding more and more like he's not going to be with the Vikings.
Yep.
And it's sounding even more and more like he's going
Dolphins.
to be with the Dolphins, which I think he has a pretty good opportunity to stay at that kind of high level he was with the Vikings, with the Dolphins, but they just drafted A-Chain as well. Ooh, I'm going to put him in good as well, especially for Dynasty with his age. There's too much question marks with his future right now.
Exactly. What's that? AJ Dillon? Got it. I don't recognize that headshot. Oh, yeah, it is AJ. Okay. I thought so. I looked, I said, I see it's a Green Bay Packer. I'm pretty sure it's AJ Dillon, but it caught me off guard. Sorry.
He is in the bad tier for me. I don't want anything to do with him. We did an article series over at DLF where I believe you did one of these as well, where I compared my rankings against the DLF consensus rankings or against ADP, one of the two. And I was maybe 50 spots lower on Dillon than the ADP or the consensus was, whatever it was. I just have no interest in the guy.
I get that when I put my rankings into Fantasy Pros, the expert platform for ECR. I get it. And when you hit submit, it says, you are, 75 picks below ECR on this player. Would you like to reassess? And I looked at, AJ Dillon. No, I'm good with that.
Okay, so we're on the same page.
Yeah, I'm good. But I've been out on AJ Dillon from the beginning. He was never the guy I wanted.
Yeah, I'm a Boston College fan, so I was rooting for him, just like I'm rooting for Zay Flowers and rooting for Matt Ryan and rooting for all of the old former Eagles. But yeah, he just isn't it.
J.K. Dobbins.
I do like J.K. Dobbins a lot.
So do I.
I do. And I think I'm going to go ahead and put him in that great tier. We haven't put a grade in there yet. It seems weird to be putting a guy like J.K. Dobbins over Nick Chubb and over Dalvin Cook. But it is Dynasty. He has the age. He hopefully has fresh legs because he hasn't really seen the field.
And he looked all right on one leg. So
yeah, he did. He looked great. I'm psyched for that Baltimore offense. I know it may kind of hurt Dobbins more than help him because they're getting the passing game more involved. But more scoring opportunities means good things for running backs. So
I don't think their trio of receivers are as good as everyone's making them out to be. I think he'll just be just fine. Second year post ACL is normally when he ramps up. I'm buying low on him pretty much everywhere I can. I like it. Great is probably hitting him at his ceiling, but I think I'd go great over good. I'm fine with that. Austin Eckler.
Eckler is flirting with the elite tier, but I'm going to put him in that great tier as well.
Age, contract, injury, basically.
Age and contract most of all. I'm not too worried about him with injury, and it's nice that they don't really have unless Isaiah Spiller, they were just hiding him all year last year, and he is this great player that they just decided not to use. They don't really have a backup plan for Eckler, but it's nice to know that he'll be in LA this year. They figured out that contract situation for now, and it'll give him a chance to hit the open market and see if anybody thinks a running back is worth what a running back used to be worth.
They draft backup running backs like the Patriots draft wide receivers. They're just terrible at it. But, ETN.
ETN's going in that great tier as well. Didn't love the Tank Bigsby pick for ETN, but I'm a big ETN guy. I've been a believer. I've been a big fan of his since Clemson. I think that's right where he belongs on that great tier. He's got the youth. He's going to be on that's another offense I'm really excited for this year is Jacksonville's offense.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and put him there.
I can't argue it. I don't think I'm quite that high on him, but I'm not really low. I probably would have had him at the top of the good tier, but can't argue it. Jahmyr Gibbs.
Great question.
Yeah.
Great question.
Exactly.
Let's go and put him in good.
Yeah, just because there's like so much unknown, really.
It's a lot of unknown, but they use the draft capital on him. He has a huge amount of upside in that offense, but I do like David Montgomery for this year.
Yeah.
And I believe they have Montgomery for another year after that. If
I
I'm
think
not
so.
mistaken.
Yeah, it was a 2-year deal, I believe. So
yeah. So
yeah, he's definitely not no one.
Yep, he is in that tier for me.
Okay, next up we have Breece Hall.
Breece Hall is going to go up in that elite tier with Saquon. Finally, another elite running back there.
Yeah.
Coming off the ACL, but all things are sounding great. It doesn't sound like it's that kind of J.K. Dobbins ACL where it's going to impact him deep into next season.
Or even Javonte.
Right, and the Javonte one as well, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point here. But
he's last, I think, on the list.
Last name on the list. Perfect. Yeah. But yeah, Breezy, he's going up on the elite tier there.
Najee Harris.
See, I have so many players on that good tier that I don't think he's in the same tier as.
Yeah, it's tough.
I feel bad calling him average because he does have a stranglehold on that.
Yeah, well, his yards per carry would indicate he's probably average, and he's probably
totally
a volume
an average
running back.
Talent. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and put him on average.
Yeah, he used to convinced us, eh? Yeah, average sounds appropriate.
Yeah.
That's not like I said. He's going so cheap because he burned so many people last year. I've got a few shares of him based on the volume alone, but he's probably average. Derrick Henry.
I'm still putting Derrick Henry up on good. Not great, just good. Age, obviously, the reason why he's not in that great tier, but I think he still has at least one very productive year ahead of you, one potential league-winning year ahead of him. I think he could have another 2 or 3. So, yeah.
Khalil Herbert.
Now, Khalil Herbert is not somebody I have any of or really want any of. I'm going to put him in below average with Brian Robinson.
I had some of them, but the hype train got out of control this offseason, and I sold high on most of my shares. And between, Deonta Foreman and Roschon Johnson, I'm kind of glad I did sell high on him. But
I think you came out pretty well there.
Here is someone I was really low on last year, Josh Jacobs, but he's going into the same situation where they can probably just run him into the ground. And for some reason, his ADP has not adjusted to his finish last year. I'm getting him lower than I could ever imagine. Like, I'm getting him as my RB2. So I've got a few shares of Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I'm taking him in best ball a lot as well. I haven't done a lot of startup dynasty drafts, but I'm same sort of thing. His ADP hasn't really adjusted. He's definitely on the bubble of the great tier, but I think I'm going to put him on good.
Yeah.
But he's definitely like on the bubble. If we knew more about his long-term situation, if I felt better about the Raiders offense, he may be up in that great tier, but for right now, let's leave him good.
Fair enough. Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams is going to go in the below average tier.
Yeah. Age and obvious touchdown regression candidate, I would assume.
And just competition on the Saints. I mean, Alvin Kamara will be suspended, but who the hell knows if that's going to happen. Kendrick Miller, they spent a pretty early pick on there.
Love him.
Taysom Hill vulturing those short yardage touchdowns. So, yeah, Jamal Williams isn't somebody I'm looking for on my dynasty teams.
James Cook.
James Cook is flirting with bad for me. And, in fact, I'm going to put him there. I'm going to put him in bad.
Yep, I don't
Not interested in him at all.
Josh Allen vultures all the useful rushes there, so I won't argue. Aaron Jones.
Let's put him in average. Average sounds really good for Aaron Jones. I think he could have a pretty good year this year, but long term, don't know.
Well, yeah, exactly. Alvin Kamara.
Let's put him in average as well. A little bit above Jamal Williams, but not too far above him there.
Yeah, the legal situation might kill the last productive year he has left. But Alex Madison.
Madison screams average. Let's go average again.
I don't even
Alexander
know if he
Madison.
screams average. That might be generous.
Well, I mean, that's kind of assuming he has the job in Minnesota pretty much to himself.
I don't think he will. Do you?
What's that?
I don't think he will. I think Chandler and McBride mix in, even if Cook moves on.
Yeah, I'm not too high on either of those guys.
I'm not either. I'm just not all that high on Madison either.
Yeah, I got you.
So CMC,
elite.
Yeah, fair enough.
Elite. I'm okay with taking him as the first running back off the board in Dynasty right now.
Yeah, there's some guys age what it's like Kelsey.
You
just
care about the age.
He'll die on my roster if he has to. I don't care.
Yep. Yeah. I always I'm very anti the whole like you have to sell this player now. You have to, this is the time to get, to sell high. I don't believe in that stuff, man. I want to win my leagues, and win my league. I want a guy like Christian McCaffrey on my team.
Exactly. Joe Mixon,
super interesting. I think he is good still, but really close to that average. He just hasn't lived up to the talent that I think he has. And Samaje Perine looks so good in that offense, and he looks so bad, but he's still there. Yeah, average or good.
All righty. Next up, we have David Montgomery.
So David Montgomery, I mentioned earlier, I do like him this year, and I do believe he will play kind of that Jamal Williams type role for Detroit this year. And I am going to throw him in the average tier.
All right. Isaiah Pacheco.
Screams average to me. Like another guy, just like, if he's on my team, fine. I'm not selling him. I'm not really buying him.
But
he's
exactly.
Just there.
Exactly. Kind of feel the same way about Samaje Perine.
Me too. Let's put him back in that average tier as well. Same thing.
Damian Pierce, who I seem to be the low man on everywhere.
me and you, we have a lot in common here. I don't want to be in any leagues with you because I feel like we're thinking the same.
Yeah, pretty much.
I want to put Damian Pierce I'm close to putting him on below average, but looking at some of the players I have there, he's probably in that average tier. Definitely not in the good tier for me.
I would agree there. Tony Pollard, he's someone I like, but I think I'm also below consensus on him. I like him. I just don't like him as much as everyone else does.
Yeah, he's going to go in my good tier.
I agree.
Not really close to great yet. We'll see. I mean, if he comes out and just is outstanding this year, then he could be great. But I think there's a sneaky, I don't even know if it's sneaky. I think there's a pretty decent chance that Ezekiel Elliott ends up back on that team.
I was talking about that earlier. I traded for Zeke somewhere. He was a throw-in piece, but they messaged and said, "Oh, what do you think happens to Zeke?" And I said, "I'm assuming he comes back to Dallas on a cheaper deal." But Bijan,
bad. Is there a tier below bad? I wonder. No, he's going elite. Elite Bijan tier. That's an assumption, obviously, but he's great.
He really hates Bijan. Miles Sanders.
I'm the one guy. Yeah. No, Miles Sanders. I'm going to put Miles Sanders in the good tier. I like his spot here. I like Carolina. He had a really good season last year. Rookie quarterback coming in. Lean on that running game a little bit. Not a lot of great pass catchers on that team. So, yeah, I feel good about Miles Sanders.
Coincidentally, I am also in on Miles Sanders. Ramondre Stevenson.
I think he is probably in that like Najee Harris tier of average where it's like
it's like you're reading out of my notes.
What's that?
Are you reading out of my notes? Like I swear.
Yeah, he's I just don't see he really tailed off at the end of last season. Don't know what his role is going to be. I think a lot of beat writers have been saying James Robinson isn't going to make the team or something. I think he might and be kind of a thorn in the side there.
I can tell you if we play in any leagues together, we will not be trading running backs back and forth. It will not happen. DeAndre Swift.
I have to put him in average. You think the talent coming out of college, what his sort of skill set is, you think he should be in the good to the great tier even, but he just hasn't lived up to that kind of talent.
I can't even argue with him. You put him exactly where I would have put him. Jonathan Taylor.
I'll be honest, I am worried about – I'm not an Anthony Richardson guy. I am worried about Anthony Richardson's impact on this offense. That being said, Jonathan Taylor's still elite for me.
Still elite? Yep.
Yep.
All right. This is where I lose everyone. Ken Walker.
Curious what you think about him.
I still think I have him in the great tier. At least the top of the good tier.
That's interesting. I think I have him in good with the potential to be great.
I don't think Charbonnet's a threat at all.
I think he's a little bit of one. He has to be at least a little bit of one.
I don't think I don't think it's going to be a committee. I think he's going to be a complimentary piece. I think this is going to be Walker as the one. And this isn't a 1A, 1B for me like everyone else sees it.
Yeah, I think we just saw the Seahawks kind of have to take a step back from their typical running back approach because of injuries last year. So they lose Rashad Penny. They bring in Zach Charbonnet as a Rashad Penny replacement. I agree. I think Ken Walker is still good for me.
Okay.
I'm going to put him in good.
Rashad White.
Close to great. Rashad White, who was just on my show yesterday on Fantasy Football Morning. If you want to go ahead, check out the Sirius XM Fantasy Twitter page for a little video I posted of him talking with us. My host will kill me for saying this, but I got to put him in average. He just really
I don't argue it. I'm not laughing because I disagree. I'm laughing because he was on your show and you called him average.
I love him. I'm really rooting for the guy. He's such a great guy and a really good interview. And like I said, he came on our show, which I love.
All righty. To wrap it up, we have Javonte.
I'm gonna keep putting Javonte in great. Great looks like a lonely tier right now. There's only 3 people in there, so let's add Javonte in there, make it a 4th great running back, and hope that he comes back actually being great.
All right, we're kind of on a time crunch here, so I won't be long. But is there anything in here you notice? Any trends or anyone you thought you were higher or lower on?
I'm probably missing out on a great running back or two. I probably should put one of those guys in the good tier up into the great tier, but I don't exactly know which one. So I feel good about this. I probably need to be a little meaner with some of those average guys and move them down a little bit too, but I feel good about this list. It looks good.
Well, I appreciate it, Tim. Sorry about the time crunch there. You want to take a second again to tell everyone where they can find your work?
Yep. At Sirius XM Fantasy, I'm the producer 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern. John Hansen and Paul Kelly and Adam Kaplan, Fantasy Football Morning. I'm on Twitter at TimmyMR, and my written work can be found at Dynasty League Fantasy.
Awesome. Thank you for joining me, Tim.
Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it.
This was My Tiers, the Dynasty Running Backs with Tim Riordan. Once again, I am Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist, and this has been the Mad Science Lab podcast. Once again, thanks to Tim for joining me, and thank you everyone for watching. Have a good night. Take care.